everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Ashley, and in today's video I'm going to be talking to all of my in-home daycare providers that are looking for some fine motor activities to do with your students. And I have 11 fine motor activities. There are more than 11 out there, but today I'm going to be talking about 11 fine motor activities that you can do with your children in your daycare. Before we get on with the video, I wanted to talk to you guys about what fine motor skills are. So it is the coordination of small muscles in movements, usually involving the synchronization of hands and fingers with eyes. So it's kind of like hand-eye coordination. And when I think of fine motor, I think of kids using their hands, looking at what they have in their hands, putting things in specific areas, and using the smaller muscles in their hands. I feel like it's really important for children to develop the muscles in their hands and to do a lot of these activities, because I don't know about you guys, but I remember when I was in high school, my hand would cramp if I wrote too much. And even now I have some students that haven't really practiced fine motor, and they'll write and then they'll switch hands because their hand is tired. So they need to develop those muscles and get a little bit more practice so that they can go ahead and not get tired and dominate with that one hand, if that makes any sense. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started with the activities. So the first activity is tracing. Now, tracing of all sorts, I love doing that with my kids. I feel like tracing is obviously gonna help them learn how to write. They're gonna be able to learn a lot by just learning how to trace. So I personally like to make my own tracing sheets, and I'm going to show you guys those right now. So there are books out there that are sold like at the dollar store. They're probably like this big, and they're said to help children trace. Now, I don't like those books. I feel like they move too quickly. I feel like they don't give you enough practice with a specific letter or a specific movement, if that makes any sense. So I make my tracing sheets. Now, I just get a white piece of construction paper and a marker, and I make dots. So this is an example of one of the tracing sheets that I make, and this is usually what I start off with when kids are tracing. Not only do I like it because it's customizable, I can see what the kid needs a little bit more practice with. Let's say that they need more practice with a slant line. I can go ahead and make a sheet just all slants, if that makes any sense. So I like that it's customizable, but not only that, it's dry erase. So a lot of kids don't know what to do when you give them these sheets. So I one time gave a child the sheet. Now, it was just the paper. It wasn't even in the dry erase sleeve or whatever it is. I gave the child the sheet, and they didn't know what to do. They just took their pencil and they just scribbled all over the page. Now, all of that work that I just did making that sheet went to waste. I gotta throw that paper away because it's no longer good. So when it comes to dry erase sheets, they can go ahead and scribble all over the sheet, and then you can erase it and redirect them. Like, okay, no, that's not what we do with this paper. You see the lines, we need to trace them, and then you can teach them how to trace it. So I would recommend starting off with dry erase things, and then again, in those books that I was telling you guys about that are like made for kids to trace, they move too quickly. I like for kids to practice this and practice and practice and practice and practice until they master it. And once I give them the sheet and they get their marker and they're making their lines and they finish this really quickly, I know that they're ready for the next step. So I like this idea. I feel like it's way more easier. You just, like I said, need a white piece of paper. I used Crayola markers, make it, and then these are like page covers, page protectors. I bought a huge pack at Sam's Club, and I just put the sheets in there. This is another example of another tracing sheet that I have. This is for stick letters. As you guys can see, each letter consists of straight lines. There's no curvy lines or slanted lines with any of these letters. And then I make a slanted line sheet. This one is a little bit written on, but you guys can kind of get the idea. I categorize my letters, and that's like a different video if you guys want to check it out. But I like them because I can customize them and I can make them on my own. So the next activity is Play-Doh. So again, they have to use their smaller muscles to squish the Play-Doh. I have tools in here that are like scissors, which is also a fine motor activity, but these obviously aren't going to cut the child, and they're going to be able to use it with the Play-Doh. I have a variety of them for different students. I have a whole bunch of tools where they can like stamp certain animals. I also have letters, numbers. I have a roller, which is also really good for them to use their smaller muscles in their hands. A lot of these little squeezy things, I don't know how to explain it, but you basically stuff the Play-Doh in there and then you push it and then it comes out here, and the kids love this. It's a really good table activity to do with the kids if there's something that you need to get done. There's a diaper that you have to change, or whatever the case is, and you need a couple of seconds to yourself or a couple of minutes. You can give the students this activity and they're gonna love it. The next fine motor activity is coloring. Now, I personally like to use the jumbo crayons. I used to spend a lot of money on Crayola crayons, and they snap like this. So once they're older and once they know how to treat their crayons, I'll go ahead and I'll give them the Crayola ones, the regular thin ones that we use. But these jumbo ones, oh my God, I've seen kids bang them, press really hard, and they just don't break. And I really do like them. I don't remember where I got these. I actually asked the parents to bring me some supplies in, and I believe a parent bought this one in. I don't know where she got it from, but I'll Google them and I will have everything linked down below if you guys are interested. And jumbo crayons, they're just really good, especially for like kids that are just learning how to write and stuff like that. So the next activity is cut and paste activities. You guys can Google cut and paste activities and do them with your students. They're really good for the older kids and for the kids that are capable of doing this activity. You're obviously not gonna give a 1-year-old a cut and paste activity, but you guys can just Google cut and paste activities and you can do them with your kids. So let's say your theme is transportation. You can just Google transportation cut and paste activities, and then you might find some, you can print them, and then you can give those to your students. So cut and paste activities, really, really good. They're gonna learn how to squeeze the glue. So again, they're developing those muscles. They're gonna squeeze the glue. They're gonna be cutting, which cutting, kids get really tired of cutting really quickly. So it's a really good activity to get them using those muscles, and it's just a really good activity to do. And then if you want kids to learn how to cut, but you don't want them to like get hurt, or you think they're too young, again, Play-Doh with the scissors, they're not going to get hurt. And I think that it's a really good way to get them introduced to the cutting idea, if that makes any sense. So the next activity that I have are puzzles. Now, puzzles are my favorite thing to do with the kids. I love to sit down with the kids, pull one aside at a time, and just do a puzzle with them. And I bought these ones at Target. I believe that they were $5 a piece. And Target Dollar Spot has a really nice selection of puzzles. Just go there and you'll look and you'll find some cute puzzles. So I just bought these two. If you guys watch my daycare haul, I'll link it above. These two I got from the Target Dollar Spot, and then I have a few other ones, but I just wanted to show you guys these ones because they're nice and clean and new and they're not chipped. But my kids really do love doing puzzles, especially with me. You can incorporate learning in a huge way with the kids in puzzles, and they're just really good. And again, puzzles, they're gonna last you for years. So the next activity is to sort. So I, at one point, took water bottles. I took construction paper of maybe 3 or 4 different colors. For example, you can use red, blue, green, and yellow. You rip it up and make little balls of every single color of like the construction paper, if that makes sense. And then you have the bottles, and then you have just them sorting. So again, they're gonna be using their hands to pick up the little paper balls, stick it in the bottle, which is also fine motor as well, and they're gonna love that activity. My son, Anthony, when he was younger, we used to do that a lot of sorting, and he absolutely loved it. So again, sorting balls and bottles is another quick fine motor activity that you can do with your children. Tracing and shaving cream. So I remember when I was younger, we used to do this in school. I go to the dollar store and I get shaving cream. Make sure you get shaving cream and not shaving gel, because the shaving gel is pointless. You can get some use out of it, but shaving cream is better. And they do have a sensitive version, which I would recommend in case you have anybody that has really sensitive skin. Just give it to the kids, sit them at the table, put a little bit in front of them, and then they can go to town. If they're old enough, they'll obviously be able to draw letters. You can ask them to spell things if you want to. My son, Anthony, he's 6 years old and he still likes to do that activity. I also sometimes take food coloring and drop a couple of drops in it, and then my son actually went to town with like green food coloring. I'll show you guys a picture of that. It's on my Instagram if you guys want to check that out as well. But you can do a lot with it. You can even add glitter to your shaving cream, and then when they're like moving it, they'll see the glitter. It's a really fun activity, and it keeps them entertained for a decent amount of time. Letting them feed themselves. You might not think that it's fine motor, but it is. They gotta learn how to feed themselves. Infants, this is a really good activity if you want to do with your infants. If they're of age to eat like puffs or any table foods, sit them in their high chair, give them something to snack on, and they can go ahead and start feeding themselves, which is going to help them with fine motor. Also with the older kids, once I see that the kid can feed themselves with little to no spilling, I let them feed themselves. I don't have a specific age, it's just what that child is capable of. And once I see that they're ready for that, I let them do that activity by themselves, and they love feeding themselves. Playing dress up, they love to play dress up. I have a couple of costumes. We have a vet vest. I also have a Woody costume that used to be Anthony's. They love to dress themselves, and again, it does help with fine motor. So putting the buttons on, snapping things, putting the Velcro together is also helping them with their fine motor skills. And it's just a life skill that you're gonna want them to learn eventually. So letting them dress themselves is really good. I also let the kids take off their shoes when they get here at drop off. I also like for them to attempt to put them on when we're gonna go outside. And those are just some things that they really do like to do. And again, it is helping with fine motor. So we have 2 more, and the first one is building blocks or Legos. So I have all of these building blocks. This container, side note, it was full of cheese balls from Sam's Club. I just washed the container once it was empty, and I've used it ever since as a container for my blocks. So these are building blocks. Kids love to do this activity with me. I'll make like a little house, and then they'll get the cars and they'll drive it under like if it's a bridge. They love this. Building blocks is really good for all ages. Babies can use them. I got really big blocks, so they're obviously not going to choke on it. Toddlers can use them. They absolutely love it. I also have connection cubes, which has been huge with the daycare kids. So these are connection cubes. You can take them apart, you can put them together, you can make a whole bunch of things, and the kids absolutely love them. I give them a set amount, and obviously you got to be careful because they are smaller, so you're going to want to do this with bigger kids. But I'll give them maybe like 5 or 6 cubes each child, and then let them build what they want with it, just because sometimes they get all over the place and you lose them because they're small. Connection cubes is really big as well. Last tip that we have is outdoor chalk. So this is an outdoor activity. Obviously, I have pavers throughout my entire backyard. I have no grass, and the kids love doing outdoor chalk. Sometimes you gotta watch them because they want to write on toys, and sometimes they want to write on your walls. But again, it is a tracing or a coloring category type of thing, but it's chalk on the floor and they love it. So those are 11 fine motor activities that you guys can do with your in-home daycare students. I think that they will enjoy some of these. If you guys haven't thought of some of these, if you guys have any other fine motor activities that you guys do with your students that I didn't mention, leave it in the comments down below, because I know that I missed a lot, like painting and stuff like that. But go ahead and leave it in the comments down below, because I feel like I can use some more ideas as well. So that completes today's video. I hope it was helpful. Please subscribe to my channel if you guys have not already, and I will see you guys in my next video.